Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. So we got a really exciting unboxing video today. But it's not quite the normal unboxing video. You know, usually unboxing videos is when, I buy a new sharpening stone, or, somebody sends me something and I unbox it and I get to see it for the very first time. This is unboxing my sharpening stones. That's right, I have not seen these sharpening stones since I packed up the old shop and moved it to the new shop. I have been making it by on, I did a video a little while ago about the 3 stones that I kept in my kitchen so that I wouldn't lose them. That was a Norton silicon carbide coarse fine, a DMT 325 coarse, and a I think it was a Lansky soft Arkansas stone. Here in the shop, I've had 3 stones also. This new Lansky diamond stone, which I'm kind of enjoying. It's it seems like a pretty good stone. I'll have to use it for a little bit longer and then tell you all my thoughts on it. I hate to do, you hate those reviews, right? Where somebody gets a knife or a sharpening stone or a pair of scissors or whatever it is, right? And they purchase it and they get it home, whether it was mailed to them or they buy it at Walmart and bring it home, and they take it out of the box and they use it twice, and then they give you an in-depth review about the pluses and minuses of that thing. Well, how on earth do you even really know it if you've only used it twice, right? I'm thinking, I've used this thing probably, I don't know, maybe sharpened 20 or 30 knives on it so far. And so I'm starting to kind of get a pretty good feel of it. At least this is the coarser side. The finer side is a little bit fine for my tastes. But anyway, once I use it more, I'll let you know about it. And then an old, another silicon carbide, probably a Norton coarse fine, and then there was a small chunk of one. I think I showed this one in a video where I was reconditioning it, but it might have been another stone, I don't know. But anyways, so I have got, well, first of all, if you notice, maybe so, the shop's behind me, right? Which means that you guys are back in your, hang on. You guys are back in your normal spot. Maybe you'll get to see the kind of setup that I've got you on here. Okay, so I've got the GoPro mounted in the little case that it came with, and it's mounted onto a piece of plate steel, just to hold you steady, and I can tilt you up and down. And then I've got a mirror behind you that's on a string with an eyelet so that I can adjust the angle of that mirror. So while I'm looking at you, I can actually look past you and into the mirror and see what it is that you're seeing. Now, you're about that tall, or I guess I'm about that tall, when I'm looking that way, but let's see if you guys can see that. There, maybe. Okay, so now, looking at what you're seeing, it's about that big from my perspective. So I'll just move it around and hopefully you'll see it. But anyways, you guys are back in your normal spot now. So yeah, everything feels like the way it should have. So anyway, so I'm finishing up these 4 knives here. These are in order. By the way, check that window out. Got a couple of fig trees in there getting ready for spring to come. I was hand sanding these handles, and man, just looking out the window was amazing. So I'm really liking this window quite a bit. But anyways, we got a custom order here of 2 matching 8-inch chef's knives and 2 Carter pattern neckers in all of them are in 1095. Excuse me. So this batch of knives is taking like 20 times longer than what they ever should have. I think I've told you before about going to grind the knives, and then I couldn't find my micrometer, so that took like a half a day to find the box that my micrometer was in. The handles went the same way. You know, finding my drill bits for the pin sizes and everything. Yesterday I installed the handles, finished up peening the pins on the neckers this morning, and so now it's time to sharpen these things up, put their basic edges on, and then we'll go ahead and clean up the 8-inch shafts, oil the handles. Yeah, my oil thing is right there. Okay, oil the handles, you know, clean up the finishes, and then write down the specifications, snap pictures, and then it'll be time to make the sheaths for the neck knives. I know I've got my sheath making toaster over there. I'm not quite sure where my Kydex stuff is, so that might take a while. But anyway, so now we're on to sharpening, right? And so, you know, I'd like to find my normal sharpening stones for, well, you know, my normal sharpening stones. And we've got the place picked out where they're going to go already in the bathroom that's not plumbed yet. So let's see our sharpening stones. Now this has got all the sharpening stones in it except for I keep a couple of Arkansas stones in the lathe and the milling machine toolboxes for touching up bits and stuff. A couple usually are pretty handy. You know, you saw these 3, and then there's one of these around, and then there's a couple of you know, rods up hanging off the shelves, and then the ones in the kitchen, and then of course I've got a couple of stones in each vehicle and everything. But here we go. Look at that. I mean, that's a full box. This is a oh, it doesn't have, oh, here it is. Heavy duty small, 12 inches tall, 16 inches wide, and 12 inches deep. This is pretty exciting. I mean, this is going to be like Christmas all over again. Oh, we got a Smith's coarse fine. Not really sure, probably aluminum oxide. I don't really have a whole lot of time with that stone. This one is a fine India, a Norton fine India with, I'm guessing that's a coarse India. I've used the fine side, but not so much the coarse side. Aha, there's one of my my jumbo crystalline coarse fine combos. We'll set that one off on this side because we'll be using it pretty soon. That's one of the newer Norton jumbo. This says Jum 4. These are huge stones. 12 inches long, 2.5 inches wide, and 1.5 inches thick. Just a massive amount of stone. So that's one of my favorites also. This one I believe is a Washita. You know, at first I thought it was a fine India because the coloration is about the same. But this one has got an awful lot of what looks to be like marbling inside of it, whereas the fine Indias don't. And actually, I just caught the light. There's some writing right in there. I'll have to grab the magnifying glass or get it up underneath the microscope and see what that says. But also, when I lapped this one to get it flat, because it was dished out pretty bad right here. I'm guessing somebody was sharpening gouges. When I went to flatten it, it flattened an awful lot more like an Arkansas stone and not so much like a fine India stone. So we're going to set that one off to the side just so I can remember it. Oh, that one was the first fine India I ever bought. Oh, this one is that new fine India and medium crystalline stone that I bought not too long before, you know, we bought the new shop, so I don't have a whole lot of time in that one either. Oh, here's a really nice soft arc from Natural Whetstone Company. This one, Goodness, I can't remember the name for this one is escaping me right now, so we'll put it off to the side. But it was kind of a weird creek. Can't remember. Here we've got one of the boy, the names are really giving me grief today. Atoma, an Atoma 400 diamond plate. These are a strange one for me. You know, I mean, a lot of guys really swear by these and really like them. I find that they cut okay, but they don't leave quite as crisp of an edge as the DMTs or the Smiths or the Lanskys. So they're kind of cool stones and everything. I bought it to play with it, and you know, I mean, I'm not going to get rid of it anytime soon, but that's kind of my quick impression of those. Then we get into some of the finer ones here. We've got Natural Whetstone Company. They're surgical black or blue black, something or other. Natural Whetstone Company Soft Arc. I really like this one. It's a 10 by 3 by 10 or 12, 10. Natural Whetstone Company, just their hard Arkansas. Now we're getting into the DMT plates. There's the last 4 of the DMT course. These are 3 by 8. These are some old, pretty much worn out. Another DMT 325, a Smith's 325 that apparently they don't make this size anymore. This one is one that a friend of mine sent me, and I can't remember what it is. He sent me a whole bunch of stones that he wasn't using, and I've only used a couple of them, but I did save the letter that he sent along with them so that I could remember what they were. What are we getting into now here? We're going to need a bigger bench. This is a Dota Creek from, I'll remember his name later, on Facebook. He sells an awful lot of stones. Has pretty much his own quarry. It looks like it's in his backyard. This is from the Jonathan Coe is his name. This is one of his gray Arkansas, I think. This is actually a there's a Asian term for it. You know, most of the straight razor guys do it where they take a regular stone and then they take a little bitty bit of another stone, slurry stone. Slurry stone or a smoothing stone for the big gray Arkansas that I have from him. We've got a Bester, which I haven't used very much at all, if at all, I think. 700 grit. We've got a, that's a really wild one. This is from that same friend that sent the box of stones. It's kind of a wild looking thing, huh? Have to remember what that one was. Oh, there's that Arkansas Gray. Yep, Arkansas Gray Polisher. These are very, very pretty stones. So since I don't have a sink, and you probably can't see a whole lot of what that stone looks like, that's going to be the better side. You get them wet, and boy, you can just see all those little shells inside there. Or shells and swirls. I mean, just gorgeous stone. I think he calls this one about a 12K. Yeah, 12K plus. You know, I don't know exactly what, I mean, they're a natural stone, so it's not like you can give them an absolute grit rating, you know, like a man-made stone. But it does put a very nice edge on a razor and, you know, very comfortable to shave with. So I don't think that we're gonna, well, I mean, I guess we can keep going for a little bit here, but a Shapton 5000. Oh, I don't think I've ever played with that one. I better do a shave right off that one to see what it's like. A whole bunch more diamond stones. A Smith's Washita that I picked up at a flea market. We've got a tri-hone system. We've got a couple of spare King 1/6s. Little stone I picked up off of eBay. I believe that one's my King 1/6. These other two, one of them is for a friend of mine that bought a razor, and he still needs to come over to the house and so I can show him how to hone the thing. And the other one is just kind of to keep on hand because I like them so much. They're kind of like the Norton silicon carbide stones. You know, a lot of times I give them. Easy there, Doc. Doc chases his tennis ball all the time. He'll take a tennis ball, and he's the only dog I've ever seen do this besides, well, he's taught it to his brother Wyatt now, but he'll take a tennis ball and he'll put it on something, whether it be, you know, right now he's doing it on one of the dog beds, but he'll do it like on a step or a piece of wood or something like that. And he'll put that tennis ball on there, and he'll just press down on it with his paw and keep pressing harder and harder, and you'll see his paw start to shake. And then I'm not sure if he turns it loose or if he just keeps pressing until that ball pops out from underneath his grasp. And then it'll pop out in a different direction every time, so then he'll go chase it. So it's kind of like he plays fetch with himself. This is one of the, it's the Norton silicon carbide that's in a blister pack. And, you know, I've never really had very good luck with these stones. But I keep one around. Well, that might be the only one I've ever bought. You know, sooner or later I'll find a use for it. There's another carborundum coarse fine. I think that's what these are also. No, this one is a BYX. I'll have to look that one up. And then we've got, oh, my Nanawas. So my Nanawas, these are, you know, 3/8 of an inch thick, right? Well, the stone itself is 3/8 of an inch thick. And a friend of mine, Victor, he, Bluesman straight razors, I think. You'll have to Google him, but he lives not too far from me. And I noticed that these Nanawas, that they would move, you know, if you soaked them too much. And so you'd flatten them, and then you'd put them away, and then they'd dry, and then the next time you'd come back, they wouldn't be flat, and it was the whole stone that was moving. So he told me, he said he was taking a piece of tile, you know, like granite tile, and then using Bondo to set that stone to that tile. And then once it cured, he said you could go ahead and flatten it, and then the tile gave you enough backing that it would never warp again. And so far it's been right. So that's the 8K. Oh boy, I'm going to have to look now. I didn't even write it on there. We're about 2/3 of the way through the box, I think. There's another silicon carbide. These are a couple of, we got one of the Belgian Blues, and then I think a soft arc from Lowe's, from probably Smith's. This is a fun one. This is, I can't remember who it is now. But it's like a 700 or an 800 grit water stone. Pretty aggressive cutting. Pretty muddy too. Let's put it here. Oh, we got the set of Nortons. The Norton 220 and 1000 Norton flattening plate. Yeah, I don't think, I mean, I've shown you guys my sharpening stones before. I mean, you know, at the old shop, they sat in that rack behind the sink. Another Norton 220, but this is the solid one. And I think you know, I mean, I've said, okay, well, there's my sharpening stones, but I don't think I've ever shown them to you, you know, like pulled them out one by one. So I think we've only got like, I don't know, 10 more. Let's pull these knives out of here before they get all dinged up. And then I guess we'll go ahead and finish going through all the stones, and then I'll show you where they're going to go. You know, the old shop, I had that sink, and I'm going to have a sink here at this one. There's another Nanawa. Oh, this one's a 5K. And that's... Okay, so that yellow one was the 8,000. This blue one is the 5,000. And then there's a 12,000 in here somewhere or other. It's a really nice stone. There's a Calton 220 with the glass backing on it. This one, you know, I've got some arrows on it like I've used it before, but I don't remember what it is. So we'll just call it a pink stone. There's the box for my Suhiro 1.6, which is probably my favorite razor hone. Then we've got a Nanawa 400, which is a pretty cool little stone, I think. I think this is a Nanawa 220. Yep. Even though it's a 220, it leaves an entirely different edge than, say, a you know, that Nanawa 220 and 400. You'd think that they were really close to a you know, a Norton silicon carbide 325-ish. They leave quite a bit different edges on them, though. The Norton 4000, 6000 Waterstone. Only a couple more. Then I can show you where they're going to go. There's my Suhiro. This is probably my most used Waterstone. The Suhiro, between the Suhiro 1.6 and the King 1.6. These are so far my favorite Waterstones. And then, oh, there's that Nanawa 12K. And it's, you know, bonded to the granite plate also. And then probably, oh, then we just got a little pocket Arkansas stone. And then, I guess we don't really need that one anymore. That was the board that went across my sink, you know, when I was using Waterstones. And I'm going to get a different sink, so that, don't know if that one's going to fit. And then this right here is the Smith's 325 course. It's an old worn out one, but that's what I use to lap my Waterstones with. And that's all I use to lap them. I've never, I think I tried some silicon carbide paper and some loose sick powder, and honestly these Waterstones, they release abrasives so fast that right there works just perfect. So anyway, so where are all these going to go? I mean, I certainly don't have, well, I guess these are still in the paper towels and everything, but you can kind of see I don't really have room for these, you know, on the bench. And it kind of seems to me like I've got, like I'm missing some stones. I don't know, they're probably in the lathe box over there, or oh, maybe there's another box underneath the milling machine. But anyway, so these stones are going to go, we'll go ahead and grab a couple of them right here. So here's the bathroom, you know, now it's not plumbed in. We got to wait until spring when the ground thaws out. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in, going to put a toilet right there. And then this section of the wall right here, it's it doesn't go behind any of the framing. So I can go ahead and pull this out and get behind the wall. That's I went ahead and finished it out like that so that I can go ahead and put a soil stack for the toilet, and then there's going to be a sink right here. And I'll probably have a mirror and everything, but this here this here is where the stones are going to go. It's the same type setup that I had over at the other place, only there's not a sink yet. Let's see if it, oh, Wyatt's going to say hi. Yep, okay. All right, so these stones are going to find their new resting place right there. So what I'll go ahead and do off camera is I'll go ahead and come in and organize these stones as to which ones that I use the most, and then probably end up lowering this shelf down and then making another shelf just like this with the cross piece, you know, so that they can't fall out, and then, you know, just making a wall of sharpening stones. The reason I'm just now waiting until, you know, I get my sharpening stones out is because, you know, these water stones, you know, I don't know if they hold water or not. Hey, what? Okay. All right. Wyatt's gonna, Wyatt's about ready to start licking y'all. So the reason I haven't pulled the all the sharpening stones back out yet is because it's still been fairly cold in the shop. Now, just I think it was weekend before last, I finished building the walk-in meat cooler and finished insulating that whole back corner and everything. So now the insulation on the shop is done, with the exception of behind the electrical panel and around the door and in between the two garage doors. But the ceiling, we've got an R30 in. The walls, we've got a R24, if I remember right. And, you know, now, well, of course, the weather's been quite a bit warmer lately. In fact, today was the first day I lit a fire in the stove, and we got blizzard conditions now. We're supposed to be getting 5 to 8 inches of snow today and tomorrow, and then the wind's supposed to pick up and push it all over the place and make things just a big old mess. So I came out and I lit a fire in the stove, and I think we're up to 53 degrees in here, and of course that's next to the window, so that's yeah, this other thermometer says 61. So and the bathroom is still heated. You know, I've still got a milk can heater in there with its own thermostat. But anyway, these water stones, you know, I mean, I've got no idea how porous these are. And one of the big reasons that I don't, so you got water stone guys and you got oil stone guys, and then you got diamond guys, and then you know, I mean, hey, they're all good for what they are, right? But one of the big things that I really don't care about these water stones is the fact that they're water stones. So, you know, for honing straight razors, hey, these things are, you know, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread as far as I'm concerned. Not that I don't like, you know, a hard Arkansas too, but they cut really fast, they cut very consistently, and they leave you with a really nice, you know, polished edge, you know, that's ready to go. I mean, something like these King 1/6s, you know, I mean, they're $30 to get a 1,000 and a 6,000 grit stone. You combine that with a good linen and leather strop with some Crocs stropping compound, and I mean, you've got everything you need to get a nice comfy shave. You know, anything other than that is just because really you want it, right? But these water stones, I always kind of wonder if I was to use one and then throw it in the truck, and then, you know, it got cold outside and it froze, would it break the stone? I mean, if you had a water-soaked stone, you would think that it would at least crack it when that water froze, right? So that's why in the trucks and the cars, I only keep oil stones in there, because that oil isn't going to freeze and bust the stone open like water would, I would think. One of these days I ought to take, maybe take a water stone that I don't like, you know, soak it in water and then throw it in the freezer and see what happens to it. But anyways, since the shop has been cold, I didn't want to break all my stones out. They've been sitting in this box in the garage where it doesn't freeze. But now things are warming up. The shop is completely insulated now. It doesn't freeze in here, at least hasn't. I think I've got enough heat going on throughout the day that if you put something next to the window, like you put that bottle of water next to the window, in the morning on a cold day, like -5 or -10, it might be frozen, but it won't be frozen to the center. If you take that same bottle of water and set it here on the bench, 2 foot away from the window, it won't freeze. At least they haven't so far. So I think it's pretty safe now to go ahead and pull all my stones out and then stick them into the bathroom, because it's temperature controlled also. And I shouldn't have to worry about them freezing. But anyway, so yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you. These are the majority of the stones that I have here in the shop. And boy, it's good to see them again. And it doesn't look like any of them got broken in the move, which is really cool, because there's a couple of dollars worth of sharpening stones in here. And I enjoy the stones, the ones that I've used quite a bit, and I like them and I know them and everything. It'd be a shame to have to replace them, either from getting lost in a move or the box getting dropped and getting broken. Now they're going to go ahead and get on those shelves. They'll be nice and safe, and then when it's time to probably, if I need to hone a straight razor or something on one of these water stones, they'll probably actually I'll probably just grab a tub and then bring them out here into the bench, fill that tub worth of water and use them. But sooner or later, like I said, probably it's going to be one of the first things I do this spring, is go ahead and plumb that bathroom in and get a sink in it, and then I'll make a new sink bridge, just another chunk of cut off 2x4, and then I'll be able to sharpen out here the way I should. Anyway, so again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know I am really excited to get these stones back into service, and then get these knives sharpened and then sheaths made and finish the first 4 knives out of the new shop. It's been a long time coming, but I'm pretty excited for that. I think the last set of knives I finished was back in November. So November, December, January, February, and we're almost through March, so 5 months since I finished a knife. So that's going to be pretty exciting. As soon as I finish these, I'm going to go ahead and set up the milling machine and lathe benches. The machines are there, but I still need to build more shelves, for all the tooling. Get all the tooling put around. The lathe needs leveled, and a test bar. I can't remember exactly how you do that. I'll have to go back to the lathe, the South Bend lathe book, and it shows how you turn a rod and check to make sure that everything works right. And then the milling machine still needs bolted down to the bench, and all the tooling put in its new places and everything. And then I've got another quick run of fixed blades to make, and a big old thing of pocket knives that need to be finished. So that's what the next month is going to be. So again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and hope you enjoyed looking at some pretty rocks, and we will see you next time.